Hello everyone, this is Sidharth and today we are going to discuss very important question, that is how to become an expert in automation tester role. And if you are planning to change your role into SDET, then what are the tools and technologies that you should consider to learn so that you can excel as an automation tester and you can move your career towards the SDET role. First, let's see that what are the things that we are going to learn from this session. So we will learn about what is automation testing, why do we need automation testing, what are the types of test automation we have, and what are the tools and technologies that are used for automation. And there are some of the tips and tricks that I am going to share from my personal experience of 11 years into automation. So what is automation testing? If we go through the definition, then it is a kind of a process that validates if software is functioning appropriately and meeting the requirements before it is released into production, but with the help of test scripts, right? And another way you can say test automation is the use of software separate from the software being tested to control the execution of test and the comparison of actual outcomes with predicted outcomes. Or in another, you can say a successive development cycle will require execution of same suite repeatedly. Using a test automation tool, it's possible to record this test suite and replace it as required. So all those are couple of definition about automation testing. Now let me give you a very simple example which will help you to understand that what really is automation testing. Let's take an example. Somebody is developing a product where you will first visit the website, okay, for example xyz.com. Then you need to enter your details, for example your name, mobile number and your address. Then you need to click on submit button. Once you click on submit button, it will help you to get all the details, for example your credit card details, your bank account details, everything you want to get in one place, and that application is going to provide you the same, right? Let me repeat the thing again. You have to visit a website called as xyz.com where you need to enter your name, address and mobile number, and then some OTP verification will definitely happen. You need to click on submit. It will fetch all the credit cards you are using and the debit cards you are using, and you will get an informed data around that. Now somebody will ask you to test it, right? You will test it once. Now they will ask you to test it with 100 different type of users. Okay, you need to test it with 100 different type of users who are using different types of credit cards, different types of banks, different type of account like current, savings, different type of account, different type of banks like SDFC, ICICI, SBI, Andhra. So you need to test it with 100 different users. Now repeating the same process again and again manually with different sets of test data is tedious and it will prone to error. It will be prone to error, and at the end of the day what will happen? There will be lot of defects in the production, and it will take a huge amount of time to test all those 100 scenarios. In that case, what we should do? We should write a script which will do all these steps. So we will write a script which will open the website. We will write a script which will enter the details. We will write a script which will validate that when I enter the details, the correct credit card and bank account details are getting fetched or not. This is called as automation in a simple way. When you are trying to automate something which is repetitive, that is called as automation testing. And automation testing helps you to save time, save money and give you the accurate result, right? Because there is no human error, there will be no time consuming thing, because a person will write the script and execute it. It will immediately execute and give you the test result. Clear, right guys, with this example that what is automation testing in simple words? Let's go to the next slide. Why we need automation testing? I have given a small example before. So definitely it helps us to save time and money. How save in time and money? Let me give you a simple example. If this process, the steps I have explained you, takes around 5 minutes. Now 100 times means 100 into 5, 500 minutes of manpower, right? 100 times you need to do. So 500 minutes of time you need to invest to run the scenario manually. Right guys, so 500 minutes means it will be approximately 8.3 hours, so a day. So a employee is wasting a day doing the same thing again and again. And if there is a change again, because all are in agile methodology, right? I will discuss that agile part later, but an entire day is wasted for this executing the same steps again and again. But the same thing can be done by an automation script very easily, quickly, without investing time. So it is saving the time and money, because the more number of scenario will increase, the more employee you need to hire. So definitely at the end of the day, it will save you a lot of cost for the resources also. Second point, very important point, CI and DevOps. So currently guys, you must have heard there is a term called as CI/CD, which is revolving in the software market a lot. So CI/CD basically means continuous integration and deployment. So initially, whenever we are deploying our products in the dev environment, we used to test it. Then basically they deploy in dev environment, then they will deploy in test environment. In test environment, the testing will happen. Once we will get the green from that phase, it will move on to your UAT phase. But when we do all those things manually, it consumes a lot of time. And due to the frequent feature change and competition in market, what is happening, the number of code changes by the developers has been increased a lot in recent days. So to handle all those things smoothly, they have automated this process. Means once the developer will push the code, automatically it will build the package and deploy it in the dev environment. Automatically it will move it to test environment. Automatically your testing will start to happen. Now let's pause here. How automatically your testing will start to happen? Your testing will only automatically start to happen if you have automation test scripts, right? So if you are targeting DevOps or CI/CD in your project, automation is the only way. Not good to have, must have, right? Not good to have, but must have. So once you reach the once it deployed in test phase, automatically your automation test script will execute. If everything is passed, it will move on to the UAT phase. So if you are targeting, in fact, in most of the companies today, we have CI/CD and DevOps, right guys? So if you have CI/CD and DevOps, then I don't think so we have any another option apart from automating our test scenarios, right? Third point, agile methodology demands faster execution here. This is a very important point, guys. Let me explain you with an example, okay? Nowadays we have seen that there are always, most of the companies are into agile methodology. That means a bigger chunk of task has been divided into smaller chunks in simple layman language, right? There is a big task, they divide it into 4 small tasks. 4 small tasks will be 4 sprints. So now when they divide into 4 small sprints, in every 7 days or 15 days, there will be 2 to 3 changes, or you can say CR, right? CR raised by developer or changes done in the code. So when those short cycles or 7 days, 15 days code changes comes, the testing will be very hectic, because they will make the change and push it to the development branch, right? Now you need to test it. Maybe you will get 2 to 3 days in testing. Why you will get 2 to 3 days? Let me give you an example here. Let your entire sprint is of 15 days. Development will be done around on 10th or 11th day. How many days you are left with? Definitely 4 to 5 days. Or you may argue that okay, our development completes in 7 days. Fine, 8th day testing will come. Do you think from 8 to 15 days you will get to do testing? No. You need to complete your testing within 3 to 4 days, because 3 to 4 days buffer you need to keep to fix those defects that you are going to raise in testing phase. So if dev phase is 8 days, testing phase should be hardly 3 to 4 days, so that by 12th day your testing should be completed, and if you are raising any defects, you have 3 days to fix it. And again after the fix, you need to again test it. So just imagine in a single sprint, you need to do testing for 7 days of dev job in 3 days to 4 days. How that's possible in manual? Because there is a huge amount of tasks to do. Writing the test case, creating the test suite, creating a test plan, creating a test run, execute those, attach the test scripts, provide the artifacts. How those things will be possible? Right? That's why if we have automated those test scripts on the 7th day or 8th day also, if you will get, hardly it will take 2 to 3 days to execute the test scripts. Not even 2 to 3 days. 1 day is more than enough. But I'm saying 2 to 3 days by keeping in mind, if some of your test cases get failed, it needs some maintenance, or maybe some test scripts repair or maintenance would be done to change on some session part. That's why max 2 to 3 days, and after that they will do the fix. On the 14th day also, if they will provide you the fix, 15th day you can easily execute, right? So that flexibility of getting the speed or matching to the pace of development will only happen if you are adopting the automation. If you are not adopting the automation, and if you are still in a mindset that we are going to continue with our manual, then somewhere in the future you will be creating problem in your release life cycle, guys. Okay, it will create problem in your software release life cycle, because you cannot implement CI/CD or DevOps. You cannot properly match to the agile methodology. And what will happen at the end of the day? At the end of the day, you will make a release which is prone to lot of errors, which as a QA or quality checker, guys, we should not do that, right? That's why I always advise, automation is not going to completely remove the manual. It is there to help the manual. Always remember this, guys. Okay, automation is there to help the manual, not to remove the manual, right? It will help to fasten your release cycle, right? Okay, with that note, let's move to the next slide. So our next slide is on types of test automation. See, there are many ways to answer this question. Many people say that there are non-functional or functional types, but I try to put it in a way which I feel, or which I have seen in my last 11 to 12 years of experience. Yes, you can say that automation can be divided into functional and non-functional, right? Non-functional means your performance, load, stress, all those things, security. And functional means obviously your normal UI flow, functional flow, those things, correct? But here I am going to divide it into a real-time manner. Okay, that means what are the types of automation testing that can be done in any project. And with that, I have tried to mention all the high demand or the most used tools or frameworks for which can be used to perform that particular automation, right? First is web UI automation, right? And remember, guys, this is the first thing I guess you must have heard, right? When you have started your automation career, this is the first type of automation we basically use, right? In any project, UI automation is the first thing, right? So what is UI automation specifically? UI means user interface, right? And it is the front end of an application that facilitates interaction with users on their screens, right? So user interface is basically the front end, what we see. Now you are seeing this page, right? Types of test automation, Talent500, everything is written. This is the UI, user interface. Now, as I have given one example to you guys, right? You need to enter. So when you log in, visit the xyz.com and you specifically enter your details, you are getting to see the UI, right? You are interacting with the website, right? You are entering details, you are performing some action, entering the submit button, clicking on submit button. All those are UI actions. So when we try to automate those UI actions, we basically called it as web automation or UI automation, right? And basically while performing those UI tests, we check that every bit of logic, the UI functional flow, feature flow, and the flow of actions works as expected, right? And here basically the test automation guy focus on validating every click of a button, data entry, navigation, or the calculation of values, functionalities, right? Like enter the bank details, the money which is in your saving account is correctly visible or not. If you have credit cards from 3 banks, all the 3 banks are visible or not, all those things, right? So all those actions and the actions basically happen in the UI automation. There are two very prominent tools in market, right? Tools or frameworks, you can say. One is Selenium and another one is Cypress. Cypress basically works with JavaScript, guys, but luckily Selenium supports all kind of languages, right? It's means Java, Python, any language you want, Selenium supports that, right? In simple way, you can say it is for automating the web application for testing purpose, right? Why Selenium we use? Selenium we use for automating the web application for testing purpose, and this is a open source, guys, right? So that is the best thing about Selenium. This is a open source and you can integrate it with CI/CD very easily, right? And in fact there are many, just like if you want to create a good HTML report, extend report is there which can also be integrated with Selenium very easily. So my favorite is Selenium definitely, but yes, Cypress is also a very nice tool and it works with JavaScript. So anyone you want to explore, you can explore. But remember guys, there is a very good thing coming in our next sessions. I am planning to give a complete session on Selenium. Okay, so stay tuned, don't worry. Next part is mobile automation. So mobile is the device which is being used by the most of the most people in the world. In fact, 2/3 of world's population are using mobile now. So you can see the magnitude, right? There are a lot of mobile users, and lot of mobile users means there are a lot of mobile applications. And whenever there are a lot of mobile applications, we need to test those applications. So those, when we are testing the mobile applications, we need to use APM or test complete mobile. There are many other tools also, guys. Okay, it's not like only APM and test mobile is there. My favorite is APM. This is again open source, guys. Okay, my favorite is APM. This is open source and this is the best in the market. Okay, because it supports your both iOS, Android, okay, emulator, simulator, everything. So it's kind of a complete package, right? So APM is one of the best mobile automation tool, I can say. Third point is API automation. API is application programming interface. It is basically the middleman between your front end and back end, right? Front end is what you are seeing, back end is where your database is basically located, right? So when your front end is communicating with back end, API works as a middleman. API takes the request from front end, give it to back end process it and provide the response. API get that response and again convey or pass it on to the front end. So the middleman between front end and back end is API. Full form is application programming interface. When we are testing this API, we basically have multiple tools in market. My favorite are Postman and REST Assure. But there are, I have mentioned SOAP UI also because this is also a very prominent tool, guys. Okay, there are many more tools. Okay, I am seeing it's not like only 2-3 tools. Those are the most used tools and people are giving the higher priority to these tools. So Postman is a very nice tool. Okay, you can automate or you can write manual test cases also for your API using Postman. And REST Assured is to automate that. And guys, I am also planning to come up with the API automation session. Good news, right? Selenium and API, I am coming up with the entire session on Selenium and API. Okay, so definitely we are going to have many good things in future, right? On this this is actually thanks to Talent500 because he has provided me this medium where I can share my knowledge and help you guys, right? So there are two prominent sessions are coming, Selenium and REST Assure. Fourth point, performance test automation. Guys, performance knowledge is very important. And if you are working in APIs or backend now, front end is very important. Two prominent tools are Load Runner and JMeter, and this is part of your non-functional automation. Next one, visual automation. Visual automation, guys, is my favorite. This is my favorite. Why? In the world of AI and ML, okay, if we are not using the power of AI in automation, then we are definitely keeping us or dragging us behind. And Applitool is the best one in market which provides us visual automation. This will save us a lot of time, guys, a lot of time. From last 2 years I am using this tool and it is giving me a very good result. Okay, it is saving a lot of time. So I will take a session on this one, don't worry, that how basically you can use Applitool with your existing UI automation also. Percy.io is also a good one. Okay, Percy is also a tool which can be used for visual automation. Okay, so visual, what do you mean by visual automation, guys? Have you heard about it? If you haven't heard about it, then let me give you a little bit of idea about it. So basically what this visual automation does, visual testing evaluates the visible output of an application and compares that output against the results expected by design. In other words, it helps to catch the visual bugs in the appearance of a page or screen, which are distinct from strictly functional bugs. Means whatever you are seeing in this page is basically visual automation, visual testing or visual testing, we can say, not automation. We are not automating anything. So here knowingly I have kept one thing. Can you see dot dot over the desktop automation? Can you see here, guys? Dot 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 dot. Correct? This is not looking good, correct? This dot 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 is overlapping our desktop automation point. This is basically you can catch using visual automation. Isn't it awesome? I will give you a lot of more examples, guys. Don't worry, okay? I am a big fan of visual automation, frankly speaking, okay? The last one is desktop application. Yes, desktop application automation is kind of, guys, has reduced, the demand of desktop application has been reduced a lot, okay? And in fact, there are many tools in market, okay? In fact, WinApp supports, SQL supports, test complete supports, Windows or desktop automation. But yes, this is not a very on demand right now. But if you ask me, the most cool one, Vinium is the most cool one. WinApp driver is a cool one. Okay, those are very cool. Tricentis in fact also provides desktop automation. Okay, so those are kind of test automations we have. And why I am saying those tools, guys, because if you are a manual tester and if you are trying to figure out which one I should learn, keep those tools in mind. Okay, again I am saying my favorites: Selenium from UI automation, APM from mobile automation, Rest Assured from for API automation, JMeter for test automation, performance test automation, Apply tool for visual automation, Vinium for desktop automation. Those are my favorites. Okay. Now, what are the tools and technology we should learn to become an expert in automation field? Or if you are targeting to the SDET field, what are the things you should learn? Look, guys, whatever the types of automation I have shown you and what are the tools or frameworks I have shared with you, those are just the 20% part of a SDET or expert automation profile. Just 20% part. So first line, Selenium WebDriver, if you are considering your automation, that is only 20%. The rest 80% part consists of the lower points that I have mentioned. Let's go through each and every points. Dependency management with Maven and Gradle, very important to learn this one. So what happens, guys, when we work on a automation tool or automation framework, we need to take help of multiple external jars or libraries. If you use around 5 to 10 jars or libraries, you need to download it and add it to your project. Instead of doing that, you can take help of those Maven and Gradle, which will automatically download those jars or the libraries into your project. It will be easy to manage with that. That's why learning about dependency management tool, Maven or Gradle, is very, very important, right? So it is basically a software project management and compression tool on the definition wise. Okay, got it, right, guys? So in a small definition, let me give you a quick definition of Maven. Maven is a popular open source build tool developed by the Apache group to build, publish and deploy several projects at once for better project management. But in automation specifically, as I told, if in your framework you are using multiple jars or libraries, and then you need to, instead of manually downloading it or adding to your project, what you can do, you can simply use the dependency management tool, which will do your job, right? Which will help you to download or manage your external jars or libraries. So this comes very handy. So third is Java, core Java. So basically any Java language you need to learn, guys. Okay, if you are targeting automation profile or you want to be an expert in automation, trust me, this is very important. Okay, this is very, very important to be good in a programming language. You pick any language, Java, Python, JavaScript, anything is fine. Okay, the next point would be TestNG framework. Yes, so TestNG basically, guys, we use to write our test scripts, okay, in simple layman language. Okay, so TestNG helps us to write our test scripts. Okay, it is basically a testing framework inspired from JUnit and NUnit, right? But it has some very cool new functionalities, guys. Okay, and it helps us to make our automation tests more structured, readable, maintainable and user friendly. So TestNG is another technology you should learn. Next one, Jenkins for CI/CD. As I told, if you are CI/CD, continuous integration and continuous deployment is very important for automation. And if you have an automation suite which is not part of your CI/CD pipeline, then really, guys, you are wasting most of your time. and the ROI will never come good for your automation. That's why you have to learn CI/CD pipeline. Any tool you can pick, Jenkins, Bamboo, Circle CI. My favorite is Jenkins. That's why I mentioned Jenkins over here. So learning about Jenkins or CI/CD pipeline concept is the next one. Definitely should be in your point, right? Next, Git for source code management. So what happens, guys? Why we need Git? For example, you are 5 members in your team, right? And all of you guys are at a time working on a single class. Then if you are making any changes and then another person is also making on changes in the same class, then the conflicts will come, right? And if you are not managing those things properly with the help of a source code management, it will be kind of a chaos in your coding. That's why whenever you want to manage your code, or if you have a huge team working together on a single project, definitely Git is very, very important, right? Because it will help us to manage our source code, and it is free and open source, guys. That is the best thing. Okay, it is a free and open source version control system used to handle small to very large projects efficiently, and Git is used to tracking changes in the source code, enabling multiple developers to work together on non-linear development. Okay, next technology you should learn about is framework design. Don't worry, framework design is a huge part, okay, of automation profile or an SDET profile. I guess there is a lot of complications in defining SDET and automation role. I will have a different session where I will explain you guys what are the differences of a role between a test automation and your this one SDET role. Okay, but yes, framework designing for your automation test automation framework design is next technology which you should learn for sure to be an expert in automation. Next one is advanced reporting with extent reports. This is, guys, very important. Why? Because as we say, like, if something is not looking good, it's difficult to sell. That's why no matter how good is your test script, how properly you have coded your test scripts, but if the reporting is not good or visually looking good for all your partners, then it is of no use. So you need to design a very nice HTML reporting, and extent report provides us this flexibility. See, extent report is again kind of an external jar to your framework design, so it will be part of your framework designing. Okay, but yes, this is the best one. This is basically a library. Okay, you can create beautiful, interactive and detailed reports for your test using extent report. There are many more LREs also there, but my favorite is extent report, so I have written extent report. You can pick any HTML report designing, but my point is you should learn HTML report designing implementing to your framework. Then Docker or parallel execution. Guys, parallel execution, cross-browser execution is very, very important, and this will have a very great weightage. I told you initially, right, 20% is only for the tools and frameworks, right? But rest of the things are from this, and which chunk carries how much percentage, I will discuss that. For example, Maven will take 10%, Core Java 30%, TestNG 10%, Jenkins 20%, Git 10%. I will divide all those into each, means how much weightage you need to give for each section in our next session. Okay, don't worry. But Docker and parallel execution, why? Because cross-browser and parallel execution is very important, because nowadays there are many OS drivers, there are many mobile OS also, like Android, iOS. So you cannot wait for one test case to execute and then you will run the test next execution. I hope you don't understand, right? Let me put it in an easier way. Let you have a test to run both in iOS and Android. The test takes 30 minutes to execute. Now if you execute it linearly, what will happen? First 30 minutes it will execute in Android, next 30 minutes it will execute in iOS. 1 hour for execution. Now if you run it parallelly, what will happen? You will create 2 parallel runs, right? Each will take 30 minutes. So by the end of 30 minutes, your execution for both iOS and Android is done. Isn't it cool? Right? That's why parallel execution is very important. Similar goal for cross-browser. Cross-browser means let you have a test case which takes 30 minutes to run in Firefox, 30 minutes for Chrome. So instead of waiting for 30 minutes to complete the execution in Firefox, then move on to Chrome, create 2 parallel runs. One will execute in Firefox, another will execute in Chrome. Right? To do those, nowadays they are using Docker containers, guys. That's why I have written Docker over here. So knowledge in Docker containers will come very handy, guys. Okay, this will make your profile very unique. So do give it a try. Okay, and I will provide you some links on that to how to work with Docker parallel execution. In fact, in my blog also you can find it. It's automationreinvented.blogspot.com. There you can see all those Dockers, extent report, everything. Okay, we will have more sessions in Talent 500 also. Don't worry. Second part, driver manager to manage cross-browser testing. Why I have put it in a separate session, driver manager to manage cross-browser testing, because see guys, cross-browser testing can be done in Docker containers also, but there is a new thing called as driver manager which is coming in market, where you can manage your drivers also very easily when you are working with cross-browser testing. This is a small technology, but this gives good weightage to your resume. Okay, that's why I mentioned it. Then Log4j for log files. Yes, we all are aware of it. They have make our life quite difficult some months back, right guys? There was a big issue, security issue from Log4j, but yes, this is very important because you cannot keep on writing system.out in your project, right? You need to take help of reporter or logs. That's why logger files is very important. I guess most of you must have used those log files, right, in your project. Those who have not used, don't worry, I will explain it. Okay, this is basically a logging framework, and it is written in Java that provides an easy way for logging any information, any logs you can provide. Okay, I guess this is not a mandatory one, guys. Okay, always remember, this is not a mandatory one. This is always a good to have part. Okay, this is a good to have part. Then DB or SQL, 100% guys, you should have knowledge in database. I have written SQL because this is the one most used, but I have recently learned PostgreSQL also. This is also good. MongoDB also I have learned. This is also cool. But yes, database knowledge is very important, guys. Why? Because nowadays market is moving from UI automation towards service or API automation. That's why knowledge in database is very important. Correct? Knowledge in database is very important. Now we will discuss about the tips and tricks, right? So tips and tricks, guys, let me give you a couple of tricks. So I have told you, right, what are the types of automation we have, what are the good tools we have, and what are the technology along with the tools or frameworks we need to learn. Now there are quick tips and tricks. Okay, learn the basics of testing first, guys. You should very good in your understanding STLC. You should good in designing test plan, test strategy, and test estimation. So those are very important. That's why I've written learn the basics of testing very well. I will give you a couple of test plan, test strategy in future sessions. Don't worry. Along with test estimation, learn the complementary tech stacks. Complementary tech stacks means Maven, TestNG, Extend Report, Jenkins, CI/CD, Git, Log4j. All those are complementary. Complementary. Why I've written that means your main course is kind of your Selenium. Rest assured those things. Okay. Practice and repeat. This is the formula I always use, and I will advise you guys to use. Okay, practice and repeat means whenever in the next session we will start with Selenium, right? Whenever I teach you something, try to take a pause and try to do it on your own machine. Watching YouTube videos will never give you knowledge. Watching YouTube videos and implementing on your own machine will give you knowledge. Okay, and repeat it. If you don't understand something, repeat it. Second, keep it simple and stick to basics. This is a very common problem nowadays. I am looking into many people that they are directly jumping into DS and algo. Guys, no, this is not the right way. Learn about string, array, list, map, exception handling first. Be strong in that, then only jump to that. Don't directly go and learn Selenium. Learn what is the use of automation, why we need automation. Learn how to pick which test to automate. Learn how to create test automation approaches. Then only jump to automation. That's why I have written keep it simple, stick to basics. Don't be afraid of debugging. Okay. This is one of the things I have seen in most of the people nowadays, that they are very scared of debugging. Guys, debugging is the first thing that will clear your doubts and clear your concepts. Putting the checkpoints, executing your existing test cases will give you the best idea, best knowledge. Right, I will take a session on this. Don't worry, guys, that how basically you can break down. In many projects, you join a new company, you get a framework, and if you're not getting proper support, like to know about the automation flow in the framework, then how you can put a checkpoint and go through that automation workflow, I will explain that in the next sessions. Okay, so I hope this session would be very helpful for you guys. You get a idea about what are the automation going on in market, what are the tools, what are the frameworks, and how to keep it simple, and what are the things to learn. Thank you, and we will meet again in our next session. Till then, take care, take care of yourself, stay healthy, stay safe. Bye bye.